Alright, so I'm going to put the someguy827 shtick aside for this video. I've got a video response from Gary in Mendham on my FREELEE the Nazi video, and I'm thoroughly blasted by it. Actually, he got me pretty good with his response. I've been subscribed to Gary for a long time, for years, and I agree with a lot of the stuff he has to say, actually. Believe it or not, I agree with his views on antinatalism and stuff. You wouldn't think a person who has a kid would, but from a philosophical point of view, I understand where he's coming from. And even with subjects like vegetarianism and animal rights, I understand where he's coming from. I've seen the videos of how they treat animals in factory farming. I've seen videos of how they skin animals alive just for their fur. And I think that treatment of animals is absolutely horrendous, and it's not a minimal issue. To people that have watched my videos and been subscribed for a long time, they kind of get that it's sort of my thing to be an asshole on the internet. Now, I don't know whether or not that was kind of a good idea. It sort of made people kind of receive me as nothing but an asshole, but some people, they can see through that and they see where the shtick all lies. But no, I get where you're coming from in your video towards me, that it just seems like I feel that animal rights and getting them away from being treated as nothing but just all across the board livestock, you know, that's not a big deal to me. It actually is. It actually really is. And in my opinion, it's no less of an issue than the real political issues of this world, too. You know, you can't just turn a blind eye to one thing and solely focus on something else, because then you're opening up the thing you're turning a blind eye to, like animal rights and such in this particular instance. You're just opening it up to be ripened for abuse. Alright. Now, my problems with things like PETA and stuff come from the fact that they use a lot of propaganda techniques in order to convince people to become vegetarians. Inherently, there's nothing wrong with being a vegetarian, nor is there anything wrong with being a vegan. It's a dietary choice. When they want to put a bullshit, bureaucratic, you know, propaganda agenda into convincing people to perhaps eat healthier, to perhaps not indulge in eating meat anymore, then I have a problem. And that is my problem with this FREELEE the Banana Girl. That's literally this chick I was responding to's YouTube name. That's what my problem is with her. When she says something as ignorant and as arrogant as, if you eat meat, you may as well just die. You don't deserve to live. You don't deserve to continue your existence because of a choice of diet, then I have a problem. Alright? I understand that there is a lot of suffering that goes into factory farming. No. There's a lot of carnal, primal, just carnage bullshit that goes into that. But the hypocrisy of her argument to me was that let's impose the same shit on our own species, and that's it. There was no end game to her argument. It was just like, let's just kill everyone that eats meat, rather than have the conversation with them that you know, should or shouldn't be had, you know, depending on your point of view. You know, rather than have the conversation with them and say, you know, you should consider being a vegetarian. You know, these kind of people, they resort to the same thing. They resort to the slaughterhouse footage. They resort to the same kind of thing PETA did when they were comparing chicken coops to the Holocaust. Alright? It's not that it's a non-issue. It's that you're taking something as severe as the Holocaust and saying that you're no better than a Nazi because you had a chicken McNugget in your life. The hypocrisy in her argument comes in from that she'll use that mentality but say something along the lines of, if you don't view this issue the way I do, then you deserve to die. And we should force people to view this issue the same way that I view it. That's why I put "FREELEE the Nazi" in the title of the video, because that's a very nationally socialist ideal. Think the way we do, or else. And, if you watch any of her other videos, I mean, they're just pure shock value. It was like back in the days when the Amazing Atheist was yelling at that Onision guy for his stupid fucking vegan videos that were along the same thing. It was just manipulate people to be vegetarians. Not because there are ethical reasons why you'd want to do this, perhaps, or health reasons why you'd want to do it. It's view whoring. I mean, I'm hard-pressed to legitimately believe that this chick really would wish legitimate death on her family members because they eat meat. That they should be put into some hypothetical vegan concentration camp and forced to recant because of a dietary choice. The imposition of that kind of mentality on somebody is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You cannot force people to be one way or the other. You have to follow some sort of ethical code of fairness. You can't put a gun to someone's head, essentially, and say, be a vegetarian. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's like saying that if meat eaters were going to try to win their argument, they'd only be able to do so by putting guns to people's head and say, kill every deer out there and eat it. Find every cow you can and kill it and eat it. As harsh as my video was, I'm not gonna degrade the argument down to where some people do it and they're just sitting there eating a fucking burger, and just doing that to make a point. It doesn't make a point. Especially if they're eating something gross like fucking McDonald's, and none of that meat is even off a living creature to begin with, from what I understand. That shit comes out of this pink goo vat of hell, or whatever. But no, I understand where you're coming from. I do. I'm thoroughly blasted by your video. But in my opinion, it's just to say that somebody deserves to die, that they deserve to be killed, that the people around them deserve to endure emotional pain and fucking suffering at their death because they had a hamburger for lunch. It's a preposterous fucking argument. I mean, there's no way to disagree that is just preposterous. Though, I hope that sort of cleared things up. And yeah, hopefully. I hope that sort of cleared my position of it. So I don't really think that, animal rights is a non-issue. Okay, I don't. There are people that just are torturous abusers to animals in this fucking world. And, and the reality is, being a citizen of modern civilization, okay, you're contributing to that even just by living anywhere. Your house will be built somewhere that will displace animals from what was once a natural habitat, and it cause even more hardships for their existence. But that's just kind of how we've built our civilization. There's almost little you can do about that. I'm not about to go build a tent in the woods just for the sake of that. I mean, I'm a man of my amenities, I'm not going to lie. But I will say that when it comes to, chainsawing pigs' heads off and shit, and throwing cows into fucking meat grinders and shit, there's a certain ethical standpoint that needs to be enforced into that. Putting a gun to someone's fucking head and say, just eat leaves, motherfucker. It's not going to work. And it doesn't help the argument for vegetarians at all. I mean, there's a reason why the video has 11,000 down likes, okay, thumbs down, and only 5,000 thumbs up. And every video that this chick has made since then has just been on the same par of ludicrous. Her argumentation about vegetarianism is just, it's insane. It's insane. There's nothing wrong with being vegetarian. no extent. You can enjoy that diet. There's nothing wrong with being a vegan, but don't put a gun to someone's head and say that it's the only way of life or else. Otherwise, that's a bit fucking hypocritical if you're vegan and vegetarian for ethical standpoints. You can't violate ethics in the name of ethics. It doesn't make any sense to do that. So anyway, that's hopefully cleared my position a little bit on it.